Think synthetics are pathetic? You need to check your rhetoric. Yes, we're here to check out the new Vandoren VK Synthetic Reeds for clarinet and alto sax. But are they any good? Let's find out.
Genuinely got goosebumps.
Vandoren have recently released 3 synthetic reeds for clarinet and alto sax. The VK1 is available for both instruments, and the VK7 is just the alto sax and is aimed at jazz players. Now, we've sent Thom away with some samples, and he's played them all to death, and now he's back to share his valuable insights.
Absolutely.
Tell us everything you know about synthetic reeds.
Gosh, do you know, it's a very polarising topic.
Is it?
For
I
reed
love
players.
that.
There are some classical purists that will say, oh no, nothing can ever beat Kane. That's how we've done it for hundreds of years. Well, we didn't have 3D printing more than, a couple of decades ago.
There's a lot of things we didn't have.
Absolutely.
You can't be a reed snob at this day and age, can you?
Absolutely. We didn't have the Samba Supreme hundreds of years ago.
Right.
And yet here we are. So historically, I've played on synthetic reeds on a kind of functional level. So I do a lot of work on cruise ships, and I have an anecdote of gigging outside on a cruise ship deck on the equator, and all of my cane
Show off.
reeds. I know, we've all been there.
like?
It's a very relatable problem. And all my reeds started warping, so none of them were actually playing. It was very
What
hard.
does it do to the sound?
It doesn't work.
Oh.
The minute your reed has lost
Okay.
its shape and its
What
consistency.
did you do?
I used my trusty synthetics.
Great. Yes, you had them in the can.
Absolutely,
Great.
yes.
Wow. So what is it about synthetic that kind of holds up against... They're obviously moisture resistant. That's their main draw.
Well, you can disinfect them as well.
Useful.
Whereas bacteria can make its way into the very heart of a cane reed. So you can't really interchange them between people and test them out so much.
Yeah. They're more hard wearing.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. I think they last a little bit longer. And when you're investing in a box of 10 reeds, sometimes it might be that you find there's about 4 duds in there that you just don't get along with. They come kind of varying strengths, even in a box of, strength 3 blue box reeds for clarinet. Sometimes I find that some of them are far too soft for me or far too hard. And even with some filing and adjusting, it doesn't make sense to kind of keep trying to play them if I don't get on with them.
Yeah.
On an environmental level as well, a box of 10 reeds come in individual casings of plastic, and it's a lot of plastic going to waste every time we buy a box of 10 reeds. Yes, these reeds are made out of plastic, but it's significantly less.
I think they're recyclable as well, aren't they?
They are,
yes.
So actually, it's a lot of green options coming to the market now, which I really appreciate.
Yeah. Do you want to give us a demo? You're going to play the clarinet, the
Let's go
VK1
for
on the
it.
clarinet first.
So this is only available as a VK1 and not a VK7.
Yeah.
However, I use the same sort of reeds for classical and jazz playing.
Why would you use a different reed? What difference does it give you?
Well, on the saxophone, there is a lot of variation between the reeds, the shaping of the heart of it, and also the kind of density towards the tip. Whereas clarinet...
You can make different sounds with them, basically.
Oh, yes. Yeah. They really help you access different sounds. But on clarinet, it's much more about how you manipulate the reed. Yes, there are jazz reeds for clarinet, but a lot of hardcore jazzers will use blue box or ruler peak. A lot of them are Vandoren. Yes, some D'Addario, reserves and selects and things. But I go for a classical reed for all my playing, be it classical or non-classical.
And he started out on the cello. Would you believe it?
That's true. That is true.
You are amazing. Thank you for demonstrating the VK1 Reed.
Yes.
How does it feel compared to what do you normally use?
So, well, that's a very good question. So I'm usually on a strength 3.5 ruler peak on clarinet and a Vandoren V12 3 on classical. So both Vandoren, but cane.
Okay.
And I've got to say, so this feels like a blue box reed, a traditional Vandoren reed. So if you are a blue box player, I think he's going to be well suited to you. I prefer ruler peak for their shaping and profile and the way that I can manipulate it. But I still think this is a really, really great sound. And as you heard, I kind of slipped between classical and jazz.
Really easily, yeah.
Actually, you know what? It suits both, absolutely.
Yeah.
And yes, so going back to the whole purist idea of only cane for classical, I've got to say, I find my quieter dynamics and the lower end quite rich on synthetic reeds, and you don't have that fluffiness in the sound that sometimes we're worried about getting. Demonstrate a little bit more. Like there's no sense of passive air taking over the sound. And I appreciate that. And the fact that I know it's going to be consistently like that.
Yeah,
rather
that's
than,
helpful.
oh, this reed's a bit fluffy, I'll need to adjust it.
Yeah.
Whereas this, straight out of the box, I've played this a handful of times and it feels exactly the same as when I first got it out. And I know it will continue to play that way for a very long time.
If you had your eyes shut and someone gave you an instrument with a reed, could you tell whether it was synthetic or...
From the texture, yes.
You can,
yeah,
yes.
This is smooth.
Yeah.
However, we'll sort out like maybe a close-up of it. The way that Vandoren have characterised these reeds is you can still actually see the fibres like you would have on a cane reed, those lines going up. Whereas...
details.
Yeah, Leger, I think, is almost entirely like see-through quality. So psychologically, I could convince myself this is a cane reed.
Yeah.
And in the playing, I can tell the difference from the way it feels, but actually I think it feels easier and I'm getting what I want out of the sound without as much effort.
Great. Awesome. Well, I think we're going to move on to the VK7,
yes,
aren't we?
Yeah, let's go.
Let's do it. Cool.
Phil Collins for you.
Oh, yeah, love it. Every day. How does the VK7 compare to the VK1?
So this is very much aimed at the jazz sound.
Yeah.
And I would only
it does really alter the sound, doesn't it?
Absolutely, yeah. I would only put it on a jazz mouthpiece, personally. And if I was going for more classical or like reined-in sound, I would, go for the VK1. Okay. Absolutely.
Incidentally, you won a classical competition on a synthetic reed, didn't you?
I did. Yeah. I didn't tell anybody that's what I did. Because there's
We've
still
told everyone now.
Well, there we go. We're going to break the stigma. Here we go. Because on the day, I was just having a problem with the reeds. It was summer, and I wanted something that I knew was going to work. And the minute I knew that was going to happen, I felt comfortable. I was less nervous because the one thing I was not worrying about was the reed. Yeah. And then I just I played my best and they agreed.
Great.
Yes.
You got number one.
Yeah, great.
So who are these VK reeds aimed at, do you think? What kind of market?
Yeah, that's a good question. So I think actually a range of players, really. I think pros should all try them at least once. Even if it's just on a functional level, even if you're playing outside for a gig, you're doing a wedding, a pop band gig, something like that. DJ and sax, Ibiza tracks, it's not quite my speed, but it would work.
I think you've got it in your arsenal.
Maybe,
I think you have, Thom.
A bit more practice. But yeah, I think in terms of functionality, it's there because it's consistent. You know what you're getting. And yes, with the outdoors, quick changes in theatre, our reeds dry up very quickly going from one instrument to the other. If you've left it sat there and you haven't kept an eye on the reed, again, you don't quite know what you're picking up. Whereas these, you can play cold. You don't have to break them in, soak them, nothing like that.
Yeah, it's a bit more relaxing, really, if you're performing.
Absolutely, because it's the one thing you're not worrying about.
Yeah. That's great. Thank you, Thom.
Oh, you're very
well, now we
welcome.
know all about Vandoren VK Reeds. So if you like this video, don't forget to subscribe and we'll see you next time.